must be here for the review. Right this way. This is Nathan with Analog Reviews, and today we're having a look at Dark Souls. Developed by From Software and published by Namco Bandai, Dark Souls is the third-person action RPG that is the spiritual successor to Demon's Souls. While Demon's Souls was a PS3 exclusive, Dark Souls is available on the Xbox 360, the PlayStation 3, as well as on PC. Depending on how much or how little you die, Dark Souls' main quest takes roughly 50 hours to complete. The story is one of ambience, taking an unusual approach for a Japanese game. Dark Souls opts for a subtle narrative and lore revealed through short NPC conversations, as well as item descriptions. This stands in stark contrast to other dialogue and cutscene-heavy RPGs. In a richly animated opening cutscene, it's explained that dragons ruled the earth until 4 great heroes rose up and overthrew them, thus beginning the Age of Fire. Many years have passed since then, and the various bonfires that supported the Age of Fire are starting to weaken. As a result, many of the inhabitants are losing their humanity. Upon losing their humanity, they become hollow. Hollows can no longer think rationally and are extremely aggressive. Set in a ruined kingdom called Anor Londo, as well as the outlying areas surrounding it, Dark Souls features a giant interconnected world. Think of it as a 3D Metroidvania-style game. Shortcuts open up as you progress, allowing quick access to areas that you have previously traversed. You play as an undead inhabitant who begins the game locked up in an asylum, whose escape is facilitated by the help of a mysterious stranger. Upon escaping, your character embarks on a quest to light the various bonfires spread out across the world while simultaneously trying to maintain your humanity. The overall graphics aren't spectacular, but the areas you explore are varied and the enemies are unique. The game features great art direction. One moment you can be in a brightly lit city, the next you can be pulled into a painting and forced to fight your way through a snowy, surreal environment. In an era where the average game is mindless and easy, Dark Souls offers a refreshing challenge. Offering only one difficulty mode, it's designed to be quite taxing. If you wish to survive, you're expected to learn from repetition, and as a result, you'll most likely die multiple times. Even the weakest of enemies will punish your carelessness, while all the bosses offer unique challenges and are quite formidable. Luckily, the game is skill-based, and the combat is tight and fluid. Death in Dark Souls is usually not a result of poor game mechanics or bad luck, and generally the only person to blame is yourself. As a result, defeating a challenging boss awards you with a strong sense of accomplishment, which is quite rare for a contemporary video game. Dark Souls features numerous starting classes, each with different equipment sets, stats, and abilities. This makes the beginning of the game easier or harder, depending on your choice. Classes make little difference in the long term now, as you're able to use any kind of weapon as well as every spell, depending on how you choose to level your character. Dark Souls offers a tremendous amount of variety, featuring over 100 different weapons and armor pieces. Each weapon has its own unique moveset, fighting style, and upgrade path, while the damage values and range also vary from weapon to weapon. As a result, the best weapon in the game is often argued, as everyone has their own unique playing style. In terms of the equipment, there are multiple sets of armor available, but the best way to go about playing is generally to mix and match pieces from different sets. Each piece of armor offers certain protection from various elements. The heavier the armor, the better the protection generally. Be careful though, if you weigh your character down, you will move much slower and you won't be able to dodge enemy attacks in time. Players are also able to quickly swap between using their weapon with 2 hands for a greater damage yield, or they can use a weapon with 1 hand, which allows for the use of a shield. The larger, heavier shields are usually designed to withstand more force, while a smaller shield generally weighs less, but allows for advanced players to pull off split-second parries, which can deflect enemy attacks, leaving them open for a quick counterattack. The inhabitants of Anor Londo and its surrounding areas seem like they're straight out of Silent Hill, proving themselves to be a bit creepy and not necessarily trustworthy.
We're a welcome customer. I trade for souls. Everything's for sale.
You'll often be left wondering whether an NPC might be turning hollow. This all lends to Dark Souls' atmosphere and the feeling of being immersed in a hellish environment. Some of the areas and creatures you encounter can be downright terrifying, as the game does a great job of conveying a sense of impending doom wherever you go. The music reflects this. Each of the songs are off-key and work well to build up feelings of tension and dread. Dark Souls offers a very unique take on multiplayer. It's primarily a single-player game, but you can occasionally see the ghosts of other players that are nearby. These players can interact with you by leaving messages on the ground that can either warn you of incoming danger or maliciously deceive you instead. Another fun feature is that you can find bloodstains on the ground, which will show you where and how another player died. If you find yourself getting stuck, there is also the option of summoning another player, or in some cases an NPC to your world, to aid you. Alternatively, other players can invade your world and attempt to kill you. If they succeed, they can rob you of your humanity. This adds an extra level of excitement to the game, when you have a player hunting you down and aiding the numerous enemies already surrounding you. Sometimes you can even be invaded by multiple players at the same time, and it's not uncommon for them to team up on you, like these guys here. Come back here, you bastard. Dark Souls is a game that refuses to hold your hand, and as a result, you're left to explore the world with minimal guidelines. You can easily take a wrong turn and end up wandering into a dangerous area where you quickly become overwhelmed. Dark Souls almost feels like a survival horror, as you never know what you're walking into, and there are always traps and ambushes laid out to catch you off guard. The game incorporates fog walls, which are similar in a sense to doors in the classic Resident Evil games, in the fact that they leave it up to mystery in terms of what's on the other side. Alternatively, there are so many secrets that you can completely miss optional areas if you're not thorough in your searching. The penalty for death in Dark Souls can be rather severe. Upon dying, the player drops all of the souls and humanity in their possession. Souls in particular are incredibly valuable, acting as in-game currency and experience for leveling up. Humanity, on the other hand, allows you to kindle bonfires to improve their restorative effects, as well as improve item drop rates. Whenever you activate a bonfire, it heals you and gives you a chance to manage your inventory and level up. The bonfire also acts as a spawn point for when you die. On the other hand though, whenever you use a bonfire, it causes all the enemies you've killed to respawn, except for the bosses. This adds another risk-reward aspect to the game, as you'll often ponder whether or not it's worth it to stop and level up, or continue onwards in the hope that you don't get overwhelmed. If you are killed, you can always head back to where you died and acquire the souls and humanity you dropped. However, if you die once more without recovering your souls, they are lost forever. This adds an extra element of risk to the game, and will cause you to play very cautiously. Dying in Dark Souls will also turn you into an undead. As an undead, you're safe from other players who attempt to invade your world, but at the same time you're unable to summon anyone to help you. You can always offer up some humanity to a bonfire in order to turn back into a human, thus allowing you to interact with players again. Dark Souls features multiple covenants, which all offer various benefits. One covenant might offer you a new weapon, while another may grant you access to powerful miracles or sorceries. Most of the covenants can be leveled up in different ways, with the most common form being humanity or by acquiring an item. There are covenants based around helping other players, and there are also covenants based entirely on being a jerk, where you have to kill as many players as you can in order to rank up further. Depending on the covenant, you'll receive an item that enables you to attack other players. Some covenants allow you to attack players that are close to you in level, while others allow you to attack players in specific areas. There's even a covenant that allows you to hunt down criminals, which are people that have gone out of their way to grief other players. Once you've beaten Dark Souls, it starts all over again. However, each of the enemies have been adjusted to your level, and the game just keeps on getting more and more difficult the more times you complete it. Your character also continues to progress and advance, with the maximum level being 713. If you're looking to unlock all the achievements or trophies, you have to play through the game a minimum of 3 times. The game does have a few minor bugs, such as clipping and camera issues when you're in tight spaces. Dark Souls also suffers from frame rate issues in certain areas, and there is one annoying problem in the Xbox 360 version of the game. You're unable to play multiplayer while being in an Xbox Live party. This problem is rectified using the private chat feature, but it's still inconvenient. Although these problems can be a little irritating, they aren't enough to ruin your gaming experience. In October of last year, Dark Souls expansion was released for the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 consoles, labeled Artorias of the Abyss. This content was included with the PC release of the game, appropriately labeled Dark Souls Prepare to Die Edition. Fitting with Dark Souls' theme of not holding your hand, even figuring out how to access the downloadable content is a mystery at first. You need to be roughly halfway through the game, and you have to complete a side quest to even reach it. Artorias of the Abyss sends you back in time to the land of Ulasil, where you attempt to save a princess as well as others who have had the misfortune of being trapped there. The areas in the downloadable content are quite a bit larger in scale than the majority of the areas in the standard game. You're forced to fight through a forest as well as a vast ruined city and underground caverns. Each of the enemies and bosses in the land of Ulasil are quite a bit more difficult than the rest of the game. They feature enhanced AI as well as a much broader variety of attacks. By popular demand, new multiplayer arenas have been added in the DLC. These feature 2 different arenas with multiple game modes. The brackets are separated by level range, and you can compete in dueling, which is just a standard one-on-one, while there's also the additional option of 2-on-2 team battles and free-for-all. The overall matching system could have been better though, as the majority of the time you're waiting around for potential opponents and there isn't a way to queue up while adventuring. Artorias of the Abyss also includes more weapons, armor, and spells hidden away in the new areas. New communication tools that make a sound when they're dropped allow for more ways to interact with other players and can be quite humorous.
Hello! Hello! I'm sorry.
Clocking in at around 6 hours, the expansion offers a great challenge to those worthy. With its stiff challenge and unique take on multiplayer dynamics, Dark Souls is a one-of-a-kind experience. Few games are as challenging and rewarding. The oppressive and hellish land of Lordran calls only the most patient and skilled gamers to combat the horrors within, and we here at Analog Reviews feel that it is one of the best games of this current generation. While its performance issues are mildly frustrating, it doesn't ruin the refined skill-based combat and fantastic world design. Dark Souls may be an RPG, but it is reminiscent of survival horror games of the past, and the fact that there's trouble around every corner, and you never know quite what to expect. This is why Dark Souls is without a doubt our 2011 Game of the Year.